Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sagana Vavadu Sakana Punaktu Sakavidyam Karavavakai Tejasvina Vadidamastuma Vatvishavake. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Yogena Chittasya Patena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Vaityakena Yopa Tam Pravaram Munina Patanjalim Pranjalim Anandosmi. We will complete this Abhyasa Vairagya definition today and then start the background for the important concept of Yoga Samadhi. So let's just recite it once and then we take the Padartha. Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam kan nirodhaka.
Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam kan nirodhaha.
Tatra sthitau yatno abhyasah.
Tatra sthitau yatno abhyasah.
Satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara asevito dridabhumihi.
Satu dirghakala nairantarya satkara asevito dridabhumihi.
Drishta anusravika vishaya vitishnasya vashikara samya vairagyam.
Drishta anusravika vishaya vitishnasya vashikara samya vairagyam.
Tatparam purushakyade guna vitrishnyam.
Tatparam purushakyade guna vaitrishyam.
Very good. These are all technical terms. As I said, I think you don't really have to remember all those things, but it'll be nice to know them. So we have to discuss the Vairagyam, the Paravairagyam, to complete this. But as usual, we will just have a recap of where we left last class. So remember, our goal is to understand the experience of yoga to augur our goal in Vedanta. You should not forget that. So we are not dwelling too much on in the ontological and metaphysical part of the yoga Darshana, but we follow the great leaders who have shown us in the Vedanta the essence of what we need to pick up. So here there are two important tools that Patanjali has indicated, defined to us, Abhyasam and Vairagyam. Of course, we talked about the most important, the third part, Ishvara Pranidhanam, which we are going to cover later. The grace of God is needed in what we do. This is why the Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, Yoga Darshana is very profound compared to Sankhya, because Sankhya hasn't really given a positive sign to Ishvara. So Ishvara Pranidhanam is very important. So we will cover that when Patanjali tells us to look at it. So this Abhyasam and Vairagyam are essential tools that we in our Laukika life. This is, as I say, Vedanta, spiritual life is not different from your worldly life. We normally say that's a spiritual life. I spend time for half an hour every day. No, life is spiritual. So everything is one. Therefore, whatever we learn in the spiritual tool set should be equally applicable in our Laukika life. So I don't need to explain to you because we all know practice makes it perfect in everything. Vairagyam, dispassion, makes it a better judge of action. So therefore, this is also important in the life. So I give a little, formal like of approach that it remembers to you. So what is abhyasam? If you translate the sutra's meaning into a meaningful, useful reference, it is about the effort. The effort in terms of duration of the effort, the quality of the effort, and the rightness of the effort. So it must be a satkaro. So it has to be a right effort. It has to have intensity. It has to be persistent and followed a prolonged time. Forever, literally to say, but towards the goal. So therefore, intensity plus persistence times the prolonged effort is the abhyasam. Now, this is not just for yoga abhyasam, it is for everything. So if you want to learn music, you want to learn programming, you want to drive, you want to do things, continuous effort, persistent effort, prolonged effort. And then we added a quality to it. You remember, prayatana should be utsaha, sahasa, and all that. So remember that. Why we say that? Because it is very likely when you pursue this yogaಭ್ಯಾಸம் or any such spiritual pursuit, you may get some boredom sometime. You don't see the results, or you see that you already think that you got the results. So all this viparita jnanam would mean you stop the abhyasam prematurely, Now, if you throw the stone 10 times, the mango is going to fall, yeah? And you have throw 8 stones, 9 stones, but it's not falling down. But if you just walk away, you miss it, right? So you need to have that utsaham. So never give up going through. That's abhyasam we saw. But the abhyasam addresses the intellectual non-compliance part, or intellectual wrong directional approach part, the rajasic part, mostly. Remember, mind has got 3 vectors. What does a vector mean? Vector means the force and direction in which something is taking you away. 3. What are the 3? One is the intellectual part, the buddhi. Other one is the emotional part, the mind. And in between is the ahankara. So here we are talking about abhyasam to really make your brain to be your pet dog. You tell sit, it sit. Brain cannot tell you, yeah, don't do this, let's do something else. It has to give you the right directions. So abhyasam helps you there. The emotional part is what is giving you the passion, grief, ragadvesham. It is more difficult because, intellect is something which, people can even say, look, I do not know it. People can very easily accept ignorance because, they think ignorance is a lack of knowledge. Knowledge is like yearning something. So I can say I am poor. I don't have money. I'm not ashamed of it. I can say I am not very intelligent. I can say that. But nobody says I am bad emotional person. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody will give up that because they always try to justify their anger, emotion. So emotion is very much more sly, much more difficult to clean and drive. And but as a students of Vedanta and yoga, we are open. We have a wrong emotions in us. We want to cure it. We want to clean it. So Vairagyam is the main medicine for it. And then we qualified in the last session that although dispassion is the right word, renunciation is the right word, but I think much better word will be a focused dispassion. So we saw that what is focus means? Focus means our attention is driven towards a particular object of apprehension. Please do not undervalue this. The biggest asset that we have is our attention. Why? Because attention means Your consciousness is focusing on it. If you are the consciousness, if you are that, where you are spending most of the time with, that is the most valuable one. So therefore, always guard your attention in everything in life. We should focus on what is right for us. So again, if you take the focus and take the dispassion, it becomes a focused dispassion. That's vairagya. Then we wanted to know what is this vairagya. In the next sutra, drishta anushrabika vishaya vrishnasya vashikara samgya vairagyam. So we quickly referred back to our Tattvabodha learning. Iha swarga bhogyeshu ichcha rahitya. So any desire, any passionate attachment to the sensual pleasures of this life, as well as the external life, if I give up those things, that is vairagyam. Then we ask the question, well, this janma is bhoga janma, bhogatma, dharmartha kama, we say purushartham. So am I not allowed to enjoy life? Enjoy nice things in life, nice music, nice food, nice friendship, nice love. Why should I get out of that? Why this kind of a, persisting thinking that I should get away, renunciate? No, that's not being asked for. Enjoy it. If you are able to enjoy it with the view that it is momentary and it shall pass, then you are dispassionate about it. That's the first step. So therefore, you don't need to start with the renunciation. I am a vairagi, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to talk, I'm not going to, smile. Everything is, everything invites. Because why we do this? Because why people run away and then sit in a cave or sit in a isolation place, a puja room, close everything? Because we are afraid that these sensual pleasures will take us away. But you see, if you need to swim, do you go to the swimming pool or a river, or you take a YouTube video or take a swimming book lessons and then use your movement on your hand? No. No matter how much you master that, you will not swim unless you are in the waters. That's the reason why this Grihasthashramam is the most profound bhumi to be a spiritual person. So don't shy away from the challenges of life. Sometime you need to do. I'm not saying that therefore you always be in the bar and then practice vairagya. I'm not saying that. But don't have aversion, because the important point is vairagyam is not aversion. It is not dislike. It's not hate. It is respect, reverence, but detachment. You see? Patanjali is going to say later, imagine you are enjoying something. Not imagining, you are enjoying something. Now you also think about that what you are enjoying is lost. It's not lost. You have it. It is in your possession. But spend some time, meditate that it is lost. How will you react to it? It's not being sadist, but it's being understanding the potential issues with all this laukika sukham, and you prepare yourself. It helps in two ways. One, it gives you anticipation of failures, so therefore you are better off. You're not, Sthita Pragyan, is what is being described to Arjuna. It is not just somebody sitting, close your eyes and then in a samadhi. It is not that. It is someone who is not shaken by changes that is happening, because even though he enjoys, affected by these changes, he is truly not affected because he knows that he is not them. So that is a kind of a thing. Therefore, the apara vairagyam, apara means generally lower, first step. But here it is means relative. So the world is full of relationship. For apara vairagyam is something that is we all have to practice, inculcate, develops. And if you don't do that, then the life's problems come to us and triggers such vairagya. We again saw some examples of death, tragedy, loss. Every time there's something hits you hard, you have a momentary attachment to things. But then because we don't practice vairagyam, abhyasam, we are swayed back. Therefore, the important lesson that we have learned is for life, spiritual life and laukika life, apara vairagyam is to be practiced. So when can I practice it? Now. What time I should practice it? All the time. But when do I become a vairagi? Progressively. So this is the beauty of this, because it is not rejecting you that, okay, you don't have vairagyam. Today you're supposed to come to the class, last minute you saw that football match and you say, okay, I will take an excuse today. Next week you will come. It's fine. We take it. It's not strictly fine, but okay, it's fine. Because we are learning. Therefore, Patanjali gives you a stages of vairagya. So you got 4 stages, but he has given in this sutra Vashikara Samya Vairagya. Vashikara Samya means known as. See, we wanted to know what is Vairagyam, but he's defining this is Vashikara Vairagyam. That means he does not even consider any stage of Vairagyam before that is good for yoga. You see? But we can't be from day one Vashikara Vairagya. Therefore, we start from what's called a Yatamanam. Yatamanam is that you are now understanding theoretically, I must have Vairagyam on it. Then you choose the objects of experiences that you need to really apply Vairagyam on. Why do you do that? Because you have cognized by yourself, but those are the objects are hindering your spiritual progress. No guru can tell you that. Guru can suggest you, but you have to find out. So I took an example last week about the coffee. Okay, that's a simple thing, but jealousy, I get jealous or I get hurt, quickly get hurt. If I'm saying something and somebody's not listening, I get hurt. For example, if I that, then I know that I am expecting people to listen to me. Therefore, I am overbearing. See, you have to self-appraise. Therefore, my vairagyam has to be on my overbearing attitude. If people are not listening to me, I listen to them. See, listening is a great cure in life. Many of the problems in life we have in relationship is not listening. We hear. Hearing is not listening. You all know it. I'm only giving you in the context of this subject. So don't get me wrong. I'm not preaching you something which you all know, but I'm recollecting you things that sometimes we forget. Listening is, in a way, a surrender of oneself to the other. Surrendering what? Surrendering my faculty of hearing and my shravanam. My mind and the hearing faculties is surrendered to them. And therefore, there is a silence. I give you a little tip. If you are in a very confrontational negotiating position, you learn it in the management school. So when the other party is talking to you, you listen, you communicate in silence, eloquence in silence. That silence is uncomfortable to the other person. So he will try to either fill up the gap because he cannot hear your silence, they become unstable. You see, the lack of hearing gives you instability. Now, therefore, if my problem is that I overtalk, crosstalk, don't listen, because sometimes we think if somebody asks a question, before you finish the question, you want to answer them so that we can win over them, that you are wrong, because the real winning is not telling somebody that they are wrong, but making them self-correcting. You just be a light. Light does not teach you. Light is there, darkness goes away. So I don't say I see it because the light saw it. No, I saw it. Light is there, I saw it. That's the stage we should take it up. So what I'm saying is an example of qualities, things that you, of course, coffee and other things, material objectives also. But on a spiritual progress, your exercise, therefore, is what is that impediment that I have to not make me happy in life? This is me. Don't expect on others' problem. It is all your problem. Then when you start applying this vairagyam, you are in the yatamanam stage. Nobody knows it, only you know it. Now you've taken off certain things. Now I'm a better listener. I don't am jealous. I don't get short temper. I try to do all this. I'm developing it there. And you come to the point, well, I think I have got a reasonable control. Then you measure it. Am I getting good control in this, in that, in that? See, this self-experiment must always go on. When you are in the stage, you are in the vyatirekam stage. Vyatirekam is measurement, benchmarking. See, it's very important to do this. See, if you want to progress in life, it is not somebody says, yeah, you got a bigger car, bigger head full of hair. That's not progressive. It's somebody's view. You only know you are progressed or not. Vyatirekam is a measurement of. So why you measure? Because therefore you can give up. You see, in yoga, we are giving up lower things and then going upper and upper and upper. So you're able to say, what is the next step I should do? Then you pass through and then you identify, this is what I need to be focused on. This is where I should focus on listening. This is where I can shun away from this. And when you are able to do that, you achieve ekendriyam. In Patanjali's insight, that ekendriyam is eka indriyam. Literal meaning is one indriyam, that is mind. Therefore, some people say mind is the sixth indriyas, sixth jnanendriyas. Even they quote from Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, but no, it's not. Mind is not an indriyam, but it says it's still giving you. Indriyams are this indriyas, this senses. But here you are focusing on the mind. So if you are in the ekendriya stage of apara vairagya, what have you done? You have controlled your senses. Therefore, you are now focusing on the mind. What is the example for it? How do I do the benchmark for it? So I am now talking to you. If my WhatsApp beeps and floods, my phone rings, and if I get tempted to see what is the next message, important message about A.R. Rahman or Corona problem, if I don't go there, I don't care. Or the aromatic food is there cooked in the kitchen. I'm hungry, I'm not taking it. My mind is going, no, I don't care. So the senses, it's not that you will not hear. You will hear, but you don't give importance to it. It doesn't have an impact. See, everything comes, is wait for a response from the mind. The mind is responding, it decays. Kshanam, kshanam, kshanam. So when I have the ability to withstand a sensual onslaught on me, I don't really get affected by it. but I am still focusing on the mind, because mind is thinking something else. When I'm not thinking about all this, my mind is going through so many things. I want to have an active listening. I want to listen to what you say. The mind is going away. Therefore, my Vairagyam is focusing on this Ekendriya mind. When you surpass that, you become Vashikara. That means you are the one attracting everything else. Senses are not attracting you. Now, this is the most important Vairagyam to attend. This is, in fact, this is what we need to attend for. We're going to see the Para Vairagyam. It's not really a Vairagyam, but it is a state of Vairagyam which comes out of this. So there are a lot of explanation on this, but I am going to give you the unsullified one. Basically, I would say what is essential for us. When you get the Apara Vairagyam, progressively when you're going towards that, progressively you will lead towards Atma Jnana. See, now it's a very important insight. People say Veda school, Yoga school, Bhakti school, Sankhya school, Buddha school, different margas, different path. It's very fashionable to say you can take any path. All path will lead to the same goal. Yeah, fine. But think topologically, yeah? If you want to go to, say, Mount Kailash is the goal to go, I can go by Nepal, Bhutan. You can do many paths. But when you come to that one, the base has got this circular path. It's one path. The goal is Kailash. So multipath has to merge into the entry point to go to the goal. There is one thing that is needed. So as a student of Vedanta, it is Jnanam. Jnanameva Kaivalyam. But then the Jnanam is not held on us. Why? Because the instrument of holding the Jnanam is the apparatus that we have, mind, buddhi, chitta, ahankaram, and all this stuff. And if it is, if you take a pot which has got lots of holes, no matter how many times I go to the sea and bring water, by the time I reach home, nothing is there. Therefore, it is not the singular sadhana, the jnanam is mukti, is not challenged, but the instrument of knowledge has to be fixed. That is why we choose many paths. Again, this path is not, people say also, Bhagavad Gita, yeah, I am a karma yogi. I don't worry about God. I don't worship, or I am a jnana yogi. I don't even read anything else. Just chapter 12, 11, these slogas. Bhagavan doesn't say that. One leads to the other. You have to follow through. So same way here, the Apara Vairagyam is now taking towards the jnana. How come I was not so far told by Patanjali I must learn this Upanishad or anything? He's not talking about any Upanishad. He's not talking about Atma Jnanam. He's not talking about any Vedantic text. He's talking about mind control. How can it lead to Atma Jnanam? And there are multiple schools of thought. The Tantric school will say, yeah, that's it. You just see there, Jnana will come. Possibly. But it also means that when you have this Vairagyam, there will be an immense hunger in you. I think what Shankara says, like, if your head is on the fire, what happens when your head is on the fire? Is it you go to your wife and children or money? No, you just want to go to the well or a water, the bucket of water, and put your head down. That intensity of purpose for salvation. So when you have the Apara Vairagyam, you would have such immense search for Atma Jnanam. But the immense search doesn't mean difficult search, because you are so immense search, you are so mature, the Guru is standing in front of you in any form. Atma-jnanam becomes so easy. The slogas that you never understood, the Upanishad that you never understand. Bhagavan Ramana was sitting there as a young balaka, he was very young, 16, 17 years old, and he was contemplating and seeing him as the jnani. So all these Vedacharyas come. So they all come, assemble in front of him. They are very afraid to wake him up. So they read whatever they know. They read Upanishad, they read all that. Now later Bhagavan is saying, so they were all reading all this Upanishad. And I was thinking, so he's saying, I was thinking that are they not just saying what I'm experiencing? You see? Now you see, it's a great insight in this. He was there, closed their eyes, samadhi, which you're going to see it now, what it is. But he is saying later that I was listening to. See, he is not. So Vashikaram is there. All the senses working. It's because samadhi is not just your dead wood. He was listening. He has not learned in his early days. He was learned in American school in Madurai. He's English educated in the medium, and he has not specifically gone through Veda-Dhyanam. He has not read Upanishads. But he's saying, isn't it Upanishad? Isn't it what they're... That means he knows those things. And not only knows, he's experienced. He's saying, or they're not just theorizing it, and I know it, I'm there. Aparavairagyam, Paravairagyam, Atma-jnanam. But this has been in the samskara. It has been there many, many, many years to come. So what we have to therefore take, it is not therefore I give up Vedanta study, I do this dhyanam and bhajan and then stay there. No, you do both. Atma-jnana will come, but the intensity of Atma-jnana will expand. Therefore, Aparavairagyam is, you don't need a guru, it is only you have to practice yourself. That's an important lesson. That sets up the Paravairagya. So the word para means, again, see, Sanskritam is it's like a knife edge, it's beautiful, and also to be very careful how this term is used. Para means anything other than use para. Parameshwara is supreme. But if you say Advaitam, how can para become different? So you see, things will change. So here, Paravairagya, we basically take the supreme state of Vairagya. So next sutra, he says, Tat Param Purushakyadir Gunai Vaitrishnyam. So having attained the Aparavairagyam, now there is a state which is called Paravairagya. So let us see, what is this Paravairagya? You remember when we define the Vairagyam categorization, Apara and Para, we chose two key attributes. What are they? Where this Vairagyam operates, Vishaya. What drives this Vairagyam? Nimitta. If you remember, in Apara Vairagyam means Vairagyam on the objective things, the worldly things. Therefore, the Vishayam will be the world of objects, external things. And what is the nimittam? Why the Vairagyam comes into us? Because we learn the knowledge, we gain the knowledge that the objective experiences are impermanent. Objects are temporal. And if you are a Vedantic student, objects are mithya. Nothing is permanent. Therefore, that nimittam gives you the Vishaya Vairagyam, that is Apara Vairagyam. For the Para Vairagyam, therefore, we need to look at it. The nimittam is the true nature of the self. You see, if you need to have the total knowledge about everything, what do you have to study? Don't list me physics, chemistry, biology, and all that. Now we are in the meta language. We only need to study about two things: Atma and Anatma. Atma is self. Anatma is non-self. Anatma is the worldly objects. We learned worldly objects change, impermanent, temporal. Therefore, the attachment to them is temporal. Therefore, the vairagyam on is apara vairagyam. Done. Lesson 1 is finished. Lesson 2, now I have Atma. So I need to learn the nature of Atma. I got the first lessons in Tattva Bodha about the Atma, that it is surpassing the Sarira, Panchakosham, Sariratrayam, Avastatrayam, it's Atma, consciousness. I don't fully understand. You will never understand because, the understander is the knowledge self, but we know vaguely what it is. Therefore, what is a Vairagyam? I can't be, I have to reach, I have to become one with the self. So Vairagyam cannot be on the self itself. So on what I apply this Vairagyam? Then comes, I think for you and I, maybe slightly not surprised because we have some Vedantic approach, because when we say outside, normally, what do we say? What do we include? Suppose you say, write everything outside of you. You take a notebook and write. You write my house, car, bungalow, computer, mic, my husband, my children, because they're all outside you. But you will never write my leg, my eyes, my limb, my mind. You don't. Because we don't have the kyadi. What we have, we think this is all part of us. I am that. But here we are going to the purest of the science, absolute truth. We know in Vedanta, that's not I, because if I am the body is dead, I'm not gone. I'm not vanished into thin air, because nothing can non-existent it exists before. Therefore, the domain of Vairagyam, the Vishayam for Para Vairagyam is therefore, again, it is external to us, but for generally we don't consider external, but it is our own embodiments, our mind, our body. You see? So therefore, when you are taking Vairagyam on not eating, not drinking coffee, not having anger, not having that external pleasures, you are improving on your Apara Vairagyam. Comes to a stage where you think, my own mind, my own ego, giving up. Somebody says, wow, wonderful person, how beautiful, poetry you wrote, or beautiful thing you have done. Fine. I was just an instrument. It just happened through me. It doesn't affect me. Then you give away your glory, give away your sadguna vishayas. So your gunas are given away. Very difficult to do, but you must try. So that is what Paravairagya is all about. So let's look at the meaning of it. Tat, here he is talking about, because he has finished dispassion, his conjugation here, tat param. That means that dispassion becomes param, supreme, transcendent. When Purusha Khyate, Khyate is a vibhakti, through, by which it becomes supreme, that is, the Apara Vairagyam becomes supreme, Paravairagyam, through Purusha Khyadi, through the Atma Jnanam. Okay, here Patanjali doesn't talk about Atma because he's from Sankhya's follower, therefore he takes Purusha. So when you, by understanding the Purushakyadi, then you, wait a minute, Patanjali has not talked about the Purusha so far. You only talk about the Prakriti. So you can take two insights from this. That means you have understood in parallel Purusha or Atma Jnanam. That means you are studying Sankhya philosophy or Vedanta. Therefore, you are equally, you are not only performing yoga, mananam, dhyanam, but you're also learning the knowledge. Or you can take another insight. Because I am following the Chitta Vritti Nirodham, see, after all, knowledge is what? Knowledge is, wisdom is what? Which is dawning on you. Which dawns means whatever is hiding it is gone. You don't try it. Why? Because you remember, when you try and get something, it'll go away. What is attained cannot be retained. That's why very important to have this Yoga Darshana moderate with the Vedanta Darshana to have an appealing application for us. I cannot really ignore the glory, many great saints and jnanis and rishis have fallen a great fall because the Paravairagyam was in there. Durvasya, called Durvasya. He attained all these things, but his samskaras are creating anger in him. Why? Lord Rama. See, if you look at the Ramayana, Ramayana is Dharma Shastra. You cannot really find out, at least in my limited knowledge, you study so many times Ramayana, you will not find Vedanta there. At least directly. No. Maybe in some places even Valmiki may say that, okay, it's Avatara Purusha, but otherwise it is purely a Dharma Shastra, typically like Vedas. Vedas got Dharma Kanta and Jnana Kanta. Same way, in Ramayana is Dharma Shastra and Yoga Vasishtam, by Vasishta to Rama, is Jnana Kanta. But yet, if you look at it, Rama is a Paravairagya. He goes to meet, he was been asked to go to the forest and he just like that, no change. Yeah, okay, I'll go. It's my kingdom. No, not even a chalanam on it. But Sita goes with him, Lakshmana goes with him. See, only to prove even, anyway, see, it's a big story, but he goes, the point I want to take, on his way en route to the thing, he goes to Bharadwaja's ashram. Bharadwaja is a great yogi, tapasvi. He's in Samadhi all the time. But he is standing outside with all his disciples to invite this, 17, 20 years old prince coming. Kshatriya prince. This jnani is almost in tears seeing him, is like a spring personified, the wonderful rain on a hot summer. He sees Rama like this, and he was so beautiful for him because of his Paravairagyam. You ask him to stay in his ashram, and Rama says, look, if I stay in ashram, and your tapas will be disturbed. People may come and see me or whatever. I need to go. So Bharadwaja is going with him to show a place where he can be very quiet in Chitrakutam. Chitrakutam. He walks with him, but while walking with him, he walks slightly behind him. Great saint. He's thinking in his mind, how is this person have such a paravairagya? See, paravairagi is therefore not somebody wearing a long turban or naked. Of course, they can be there. Paravairagi can be in. Janaka was a paravairagi. Krishna was a paravairagi. So, but why it is? Because Purusha Kyade. The word Purusha itself is Purau Ushati. Purau means city. Vijayapuri, Krishnapuri. Puri means a place, city. Ushati, one who dwells, who rules, who resides. So the word Purusha therefore is represent the power which resides in the embodiments. So knowing that which resides, which means when somebody is dead, what happened to that Purusha? This is Vedanta. We saw that. What did we saw? We remember that. It cannot be Atma that goes away. Because Atma is not in the body is in Atma. Remember that. But this power that is indwelling but creating a notional identity is what we call in Vedanta the Jiva, or we call it as a Chitabhashi. So the Purusha Kyade is, the Kyade means discernment, understanding the dwelling force in the body consciousness is an apparent ruler, but I am beyond that. I can't dwell into this at this point because this is here in Patanjali's one, Purusha, Prakriti as two, is a dualistic philosophy, Purusha. But remember, as a student of Vedanta, this is about Atma Jnanam. So if I am given the knowledge that I am that Atma, Sarvavyabi, but somehow I am imprisoned, not understanding it, therefore my focus should be on that Atma Jnanam. Anything else which is not, see, like anything that stops your worldly affairs, you have vairagyam on it. Here, anything that stops you becoming that Tat Purusha, Tattvamasi, you will have vairagyam on. So that is Paravairagyam. Therefore, Atma Jnanam is an important part. But then, therefore, what is a Vishayam? The body, mind. But the body is very gross and mind is subtle. And therefore, we want to use them as instrument, but detached. The detachment, therefore, comes from the causal part of this body. So what is the causal part of the body? Remember the Panchikaranam? Stula Sushma Karana Sariram is made up of the 5 elements and all that. But when you drill down deeper, they are the gunas of the Prakriti. See, the Rajas, Tamas, Sattviga, they are gunas, characters, energy, fabric. There are so many different meanings. You cannot define them because they are so, in a way, it's nirvachana because they are so small. Remember, I was saying when we started this, if you only define Purusha and Prakriti, so Purusha is the infinite subjectivity. Subject is you. When the subjectivity becomes infinite, undefinable infinite, I, so the supreme I is Purusha. The minimalist, the core of objectivity is Prakriti. The object is what you see, right? The mountain is an object. Yeah, it's too big. Stone is an object. Yeah, the mineral is an object. The molecule is an object. The proton, the quantum particle is an object. You go further and further and further, it comes to the gunas. So when you can go the infinitesimal, minute objectivity, that's Prakriti. But God said Prakriti you cannot define, you cannot hold on to it. It's Maya, it's his power. But he says, I'll give you some thread to hold on to it. You know, when somebody's climbed up the mountain, they throw the rope to hold on to it. You don't see the top of it, but you can hold on to it. So he is giving you, yes, I give you 3 threads, Sutratma. Hold on to this. Transcend them. Sattvic, Rajas, Tamas. Okay. That's what the Guna Vaidrishnyam. So you beyond that one. So that dispassion of supreme nature, which is free from the craving of all attributes of your internal faculties. Then you may ask the question, okay, I understand, I don't need to desire for heaven because that's already gone in the Apara Vairagyam. I don't need to even ask for my own satisfaction. But what about asking for mukti? It's not a craving. Asking for moksha. Right now we can ask for it, but actually it means you don't even need that. Why? Because when you have the paravairagyam, you are already there. Because remember, if you do an action to get, Shankara beautifully explains this, what the action can do. An action can produce a thing. It can take you up to a place, to reach a thing, change a thing, or improvise a thing. Change can be in either way, improvise a situation or a thing. That's what action can do. Any action you take, it'll fall into these 4 categories. Therefore, by action, if I'm going to get mukti or liberation, that means I produce it. That means it was not produced before. I reached it. That means it's not this place, it is that place. It is time limited. I changed it. That means it is changeable, vikari, temporal. I perfected it. That means it was imperfect before. You see, you can no way. That's why sometimes people say, I am following karma yoga. You just do your action, you become mukti. No, you will not. But you will do karma yoga, you will attain jnanam. You will get into atma jnana. Then you say everything is. So end of the day, the only key, the token or the toll gate is to knowing who I am. And if you do not know the answer, please go around the circle, buy the token, come back, as Ramana says. So if I have achieved the realization, well, I cannot say this. When I say I just use the word, carelessly. So don't equate me. If Jnani says that I achieved this thing, what is his state of affairs? In what he will have vairagyam? After that, if he says, I will not need it, I will need it, then he's having raga dvesha. See, it's a very peculiar insight here. You see, you have vairagyam and everything, you achieve the state of fullness, then nothing you need to worry about, nothing you need to ask for it. People put mala on you, you don't say no. When Kanchi Mahapariva was, once he was just pouring garland after garland, and for a ordinary person like me, it looks like, okay, this man is very happy to receive mala, he's happy for it. No. Can he say, no, don't put garland for me. I don't want, I'm a Vairagi. That means he's still not perfected the state of it. So anything happen, doesn't matter, I'm unattached. You see, this is why very difficult for us to make our little judgment scale. Now, this is what we do. When we start learning something, we got understanding something, then we start appraising people. Why this guru is going in a car? Why this guru is, um, like everybody to sing, like Baba, like Ramana, when they sing, they also sing the same song. And Sai Baba was singing, and he also singing Baba. Ramana singing Ramana, and I don't know much about. I think I know about a little bit about Ramana's one. I think one of the person asked the question, Bhagavan, we are singing about you, Ramana, but you are also singing. And you're saying, you think Ramana is this body? You see, they cannot see. How can you not see? No, people say, no, now I attain the jnana, then I don't see differences. How can I not see the differences? I will look exactly as I look. How do we explain this? Say if you take a dog when it says, what they say, let me see, what's the time? What they say is that the dog will not have color understanding, right? So if it doesn't have a color, its world is very different. The world is very different. I'll check my clock. So you don't see the same thing. A man is completely blind from the birth. He doesn't see color. And therefore he makes statement about the color attributes of things. There's no way you can argue and win him over, because his faculties are limited. There's no way you can do that. For him, the world is different. Lokaha, his anubhavam, his domain of experience is very different. That is why, Bhagavan says, in Gita, you don't, I'll appear to people as they wish me to appear to them. So therefore, there is no way you can go and convert a religious person from one religion to another, because it's a waste of time. For him, it is fine. So these senses that you have define the boundaries of your world. What do we know for the Vashikara Vairagi, Apara Vairagi, and Paravairagi senses? Because he is going to see Pratyaksham. Remember that Pratyaksham we talked about? What does Pratyaksham means? Aksham means the eyes. We say Pratyaksha Pramana is the supreme one. When somebody asks a question, show me the God. You can't show me a God, because I cannot see the God with my eyes. Because this pramanams, the eyes and ears, becomes so important, so primary to us, because they gives us a direct knowledge, Pratyaksham. But then the science of material science and the spiritual science, the rishis and scientists start telling us, well, that's fine. By the way, you don't see what is there. You see what the eyes want you to see. Therefore, there is a medium through which you see. It's a mediated knowledge. It may look like immediate knowledge, but it is mediated knowledge. You see, what we take as the Pratyaksha Pramanam get completely deflated in yoga, because yoga tells you, take Vairagyam on all your senses. Fine. I'll shut them all. I don't really take their input on it. Ekagram, I am focusing on my mind. Now I see in my mind. That means I can close my eyes, but I can see who is coming. I can see in a distant place. The time and space is not there. These are all the assertion comes in chapter 3 as a Siddhi. But here we are going through a logical process. So when I can see directly with my mind, the Manovegam is the supreme. Mind is the fastest thing in anything in the world. Therefore, even if you try immediacy, how long it takes, mind cannot be a benchmark because it's immediate. But there is no mediums of senses. So therefore, the pratyaksham in yoga is qualified as yogic pratyaksham. So the yogic pratyaksham is so immediate, so factual, assuming your mind is sattvic. After all, mind can be a dancing place for all your 3 gunas, right? But you cannot reach the state of egagram because you have to control your rajasic and tamasic. Therefore, you can assume if you are able to see yogic pratyaksham, your mind is dominant by sattvic nature. Sattvic nature is only illuminated. Therefore, I can, or the yogi who is having the sattvic nature is able to read your mind, see what is happening. But it is not without the tinge of rajas, because he still conducts the worldly life. Rajas is a tinge of rajas is there. The rajas is like, waiting to rise up. So this parajnani is able to see, read your mind. You become elated. You adore him. News spread, Twitter feed. 200 people come, 2,000 people come. Your board is put in, reads your mind. Then the rajas is getting up. Yeah, I have this knowledge. Then the paravairagyam is dropping. It says, yeah, I won you over. Vashikaram taken back to the senses. The Maya is laughing. That's why, the Siddhas or yogis who write how to live 1,000 years, where are they now? Why are they not living? This power in Patanjali's words, we are going to see this later, are not the aim, but they come. You cannot avoid it. When you polish your window, sunlight will come into the house, which was not coming before of the dirt. It's not your problem. You just polished it. You didn't ask for it. It comes to you. Then you see that sunlight coming into the house is hitting directly to your tulasi plant. Beautiful, but also hurting your, a very delicate instrument somewhere. Then what do? You take the instrument away. You don't want the sunlight to come. Tulasi is fine. This is where the Mahatmas leverage on those powers that are given to them for the goodness of others. Tulasi example, but not to the detriment for the Vairagyam, Paramapurushartha. So this Paravairagyam, therefore, is a state. Maybe I'll conclude it here because time has come. I'll try to make it logical. So we have completed these 5 sutras. These sutras are about Abhyasam and Vairagyam. Abhyasam is an effort. There is no excuse not to try. Try. In everything you do, you see, is it a prayatnam or just a simple atnam? So make every task that you do as a prayatnam. And when you do the spiritual task, you apply the spiritual goals. Vairagyam is the combination to go with the prayatna. Therefore, we are aiming for apara vairagyam. We are in etamanam stage. So we have to really think about those areas of objects, domains of inhibitors, I can say, that you want to take. It's your own choice. Take a simple ones first. Yeah, take a simple ones. As a challenge, you say, okay, take what is a compelling one. I tried it and I think I partially successful. So you can choose something very trivial one. And I say in 1 week or 2 weeks, I will have vairagyam on it. So try that. So then you start escalating that to important impediments, because then it makes you think, what is my impediment? Because not even know that what is the impediment. Why we do not know? We don't even know what's our goal. Yeah. So this will make you think, what's our goal? What's the impediment? And I'm going to apply prayatna. So it's already started the abhyasam. Now you take also, which we have not studied, but it's a cue that you need the third point, which is the Ishvara Pranidhanam. Therefore, all of us in the group, we know that we are devoted. So therefore, whatever Ishta Devata, Kula Devata, Guru, worship that, then apply this. So we will not discuss the Vairagyam and Abhyasam in the definitive point, but we will see what to be the Yoga Abhyasam, what exercise and all that in the later part. Now we are going to go in the next class onwards, the next sutra, which is going to tell you again, because this is about Samadhi part. Tell you, okay, what is happening with this Apara Vairagyam and Abhyasam? If I do it, what am I going to get? You're going to talk about Samadhi. And it's very important that we understand what is Samadhi in the yoga context. And remember, we are pursuing Vedantic study. Therefore, how to take that input and how to apply it. That we will see in the next class. Well, we stop it here. We say the Shanti Padam. Om Asatoma Satgamaya.
Asatamasagamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Jyotirgamaya.
Mrityoma Amritangamaya.
Mrityoma Amritangamaya.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om